again, in having conversations with you over the years, I know that you have your metrics, you have your KPIs, and how you evaluate different companies,
Yeah.
right? And there's always a balance between what we just discussed, what the founder can do versus what the product can do,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes you have founders that are amazing at selling to anybody.
Yeah.
People like that. I know people like that. Everybody here knows at least someone that can sell ice to an Eskimo, right? But then the product may not be where
Yeah.
you need it to be to hit the window that you're specifically talking about. So
Yep.
they can raise funds, but maybe they're not as good project managers, right?
Totally.
Maybe they're not as good, at actually doing minimum viable.
Yeah.
They want to, maybe the first version has to have way too many features, right?
Yeah.
All these different things. So how do you coach? Because founders, I found out being a mentor, there were founders who were very open to talk to me as a mentor. They
Yep.
saw me on the webpage. I'm a mentor. I'm here to help. And there were others that didn't even give me the time of the day.
Yeah.
They don't want to. What are you going to teach me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, okay, fine. How do you
man.
balance that?
It's more of a human emotional intelligent trait than anything that's intellectually driven. I think you obviously, in a venture world, when you're on cap tables, you have every single example of that persona, from someone who's highly coachable, someone who's highly stubborn, and then everything in between. I think you just have to go down to the human level. Like, how do you interact with people and give them what they need when they need it? And I think these startups, you can see some here in the audience as well, that there's chapters of business, from recruitment of, again, capital to bring in, to then scaling, to product, to R&D, that I think everything's all about, giving and getting at the right time. And for us, an anecdote of that is sometimes people, you really strip down what a founder typically looks for in the VC market or from a venture investor. You hear the word value add very often. It comes down to two things. Typically a founder wants capital or customers. And for us, that shouldn't stop there, but everything else is then done with a level of style points to it that we think come down to your ability to know when, where, why, how. And for mentors, advisors, contributors to a startup success, I think it's very easy to get into a mindset that is, here's what I could give to a company, and expect that they want to receive that information to the extent that you want to give it. But many times you catch a founder on maybe a bad day and they're busy, or their head's completely on juggling a co-founder dynamic, that their head's not in the right space. Or they might be very intentional and say, hey, I'm in stealth mode. I'm not ready to have customer conversations. Or, hey, I have 3 voices on my team that are telling me about product. We're trying to keep it isolated for now. And I don't think that is good or bad in any example, but for us, it's such again, come back to, it's a people business. And for us, you have to be very fluid, to the extent you're a chameleon, you know what to give and get and be in that certain moment. You take my function of a portfolio manager, I describe it as you're a shrink, you're a coach, you're a partner, you're an advisor on every other day. There's so many examples where on a Monday you're exactly that, you're a shrink. On Tuesday you're a coach. On Wednesday you're the boss. You're saying something that they don't want to hear, and you have to know the dynamic to then give them what they need, whether they know they need it or not. Yeah.
So out of those personas, which one do you enjoy the most?
Oh, man. Depends on the day. Look, I think each dynamic, each persona has helped me in my young career also refine my own skills and how to manage each one. I enjoy riding shotgun with founders, so those that invite you into that car and, follow the journey that is probably not a car, but more of a roller coaster. I enjoy taking that seat. So a founder who's that level of humility that not naive to the fact that I'm 25. I don't have 20 years of corporate experience to give to a founder in terms of here's what I've seen in past life. It's very simple for a founder to be like, you don't know what you're talking about, or you don't have enough experience to give an opinion. Well, I do. It's a different opinion, and I recognize my constraint, but I also don't pretend to not know something I don't know. And to me, that founder who can appreciate that perspective is coming from a point of, rooted rational. That's not, hey, I know what I'm talking about, but here's what I see. I find that to be a very, synergistic, verbal ping pong game I could play well. And that tends to be a more coachable or receptive founder to the one that's stubborn. But many times the best founders are stubborn. They question status quo. They relentlessly think the world's different than how everyone sees it. And I've learned if you back the right type that is that, you just let them go, in a positive way. There's mistakes, citing to any venture capitalist, and not just our portfolio. There's the stubborn founder that you let go, but then it didn't work, and that's a risk. But again, some of the craziest ideas come from people that don't want to hear or think they know how the world's envisioned and probably saw the world 5 years before anyone else. So we're not ignorant to the fact that profile of founder can still be a massive success for us. So this is where I catch myself back on certain decision-making biases that you just pulled out of me, that the type of founder that I enjoy working with or I think has high collaborative capabilities is someone I prefer to interact with, or I think my value can be best given to, but that doesn't mean that's the only founder that can make a business turn from a $10 million company to a $1 billion exit. So it's a bias that you as a VC have to always recognize, that the type of founder you want to work with or you look for isn't the carbon copy success story every time.
No, that's very well said. Very well said. And I do agree. You do know what you're talking about. So,
thank you. To the extent I know.
Yeah. Well, no. A lot of respect for you here. I want to know. So you mentioned in the beginning how Lead has pivoted, right? And now you have four very specific verticals.
Yep.
And what is fascinating to me is that they're actually very different.
Yeah.
And it gives you the opportunity as a company, or as a VC, I should say, to really dabble in areas that in the past you were not going to be able to dabble on. Mm-hmm. On one hand, you're dealing with professional athletes, which is an exciting thing. And then we're lucky to live in a community where we have some of those folks living here, right here in Lake Nona.
Yeah.
And that opens certain doors for certain things that you can bring to the portfolio. But the dynamics of that is completely different
Totally.
to the rest of the other three verticals.
Yep.
For what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, do you see those, even though they're verticals? Because, again, I've been an entrepreneur for a handful of years. I was in corporate America for 28 years. And in corporate America, you have companies that have verticals where those verticals don't never touch. Yeah. And in other companies where the verticals actually cross-pollinate.
Yep.
Where do you fit in that domain?
Much more the latter. We did this intentionally. This was not a sporadic or pivot. It was an intentional strategy behind how we saw the ability to unlock synergies across stages. And when you're in market long enough as a pre-seed stage investor, the quality of deal flow doesn't just stop at, hey, I have a company at the pre-seed stage. They're going to send you, hey, I have an interesting company. And that could be a growth stage company. And a typical VC fund has a mandate that is this. If it's here or here, in between it, it's our fit. If it's not, it's a pass. And what we wanted to build at Lead, for the number of years I've been here and predating me and everyone involved, from our board to our shareholders to the rest of my team and those that I have an unbelievable opportunity to work with, from the Berlin office to here in Lake Nona, is the synergies are exactly the thing that we always imagined. And that was, materialized in many different ways, from, the ability to have an analyst or an associate, an investment team member share information across stages, where I give you an anecdote. There was a opportunity that our Series A team was working on. So I don't spend too much time at the Series A stage. I'm more the early stage. They were looking at an opportunity of a deal they got really excited about. And they came to us and said, hey, have you seen anything else in this space? And because the way we've built our technology internally, so our tech stack, we were able to, with a click of a button, play through our CRM and find the 4 other companies in that space that are early stage investment vertical, i.e. myself and the rest of the team, had met before. And that information exchange allowed them to make a more data-driven decision on what they would do with this other opportunity. If we were just a traditionalist VC with one vertical, whether that was an accelerator or just a Series A fund, you would not get that information. And that's something that's really powerful to the extent of a case study of picking a company, or in a case where we have a seed stage business looking to fundraise, our Series A fund has the opportunity for 2 different things. One, to invest in the company, so you have multiple opportunities to back a company across stages. But also, they have a Rolodex of Series A investors that they might be able to reach out to. So the synergies are exactly the name of the game, and we continue to refine and unlock those with time. But that is a very, very intentional thesis behind our company, is that we believe we're not just your traditional VC fund, but we built a platform that consists of multiple VC funds under one umbrella, and many other tentacles we haven't even gotten to today. Mm-hmm. But it's all under one platform, and it all comes back to this idea that the industry of sports and health tech has a chance to, as our tagline says, better human conditions and experiences through sports and health. And we believe that doesn't stop at the seed stage or pre-seed stage. That's way bigger than that. And our belief is what we're trying to accomplish is needing to transcend verticals and things as such. So yeah.
Well, and it all comes, what I like about what you guys are doing now. I mean, I like what you were doing before, but what I like about what you're doing now is on any given day you're doing what you just said, right? Yeah. And helping pre-seed. Then next thing you know, you're with a company that is have some really cool health product. Yeah. Next thing you know, a company that is focused on women's sports. Yeah. Right, like your shirt. Yeah. And then the next day, you're down in South Florida in some event, yeah. for golf, yeah. Right, with Tiger Woods, right? And so you put there's a little bit of fun in there too with the new model, isn't there?
It's fun. Look, it's a fast-paced industry that comes with a lot of fun, but it is intense. It's a lot of work. It's fast-paced to the extent that I find it addictive to some extent. But it comes with fun perks because I work in a fun industry. So by personality, I don't think I would be VC for fintech or cybersecurity. While interesting verticals and there's a lot of money to be made, I wouldn't have that same passion-driven approach to how I believe I work. Personally, a pursuit of working in something I'm passionate about, and for a lot of people, though, that is sports and health, and it's very different. What health is doing for consumers on making patients healthier and extending lives is incredibly rewarding. To the same extent, what sports has the capability of doing, from community building across religion, language, sex, politics. It's something that there's not many other things in the world that can do that other than sports. So I think many people like yourself and myself find so much joy in these 2 industries.
Well, this is very interesting. What are you excited about? What do you see coming, not in the too far horizon, but more the near-term horizon?
Yeah. Look, no crystal ball here. If I did, I'd be way more successful and maybe making billions of dollars. But no one has the crystal ball. So from our perspective, we're incredibly reactive to not what we think is the future, but finding the best operators that are building in what they see as the future. So from my perspective, it's not a bet on a certain trend, which I could kind of give you a few pointers of ones that we're excited by. But stylistically, I think we're excited by entrepreneurs that can do a lot with a little. In a current macro environment where capital is incredibly hard to get, founders that can show us that they could triple revenue by keeping their team size flat, with the evidence-backed ability to use AI for sales funnel optimization or no-code solution to build the product from scratch. That's like stylistically something in the short term that we actually look for every founder to have some opinion on, as optimization from a resource perspective, efficiency. But in terms of certain verticals, I think we continuously believe in this concept of a clean label revolution. Food is medicine, something I know you know a lot about and have researched as a consumer as well as just operator. I think America is catching up to the rest of the world around the transparency of what's inside our food, whether that's done on a technology side or even a product side. We have a very close eye on this clean label revolution here in America. Youth sports remains a very highly relevant vertical for us. Youth sports is incredibly recession-proof. Kids will always be playing sports. Parents will always instill this activity inside their daily curriculum, and I think the industry is starting to mature. And continuously on the health side, this approach to preventative and reactive healthcare, I think we're continuously finding rabbit holes that there's so much more to be solved in an industry that obviously has many biases and many problems that seem so simple to solve, but still need some solving. So digital health and this approach of this next era of healthcare, which we believe is the token term, the medical consumer, the way someone can enter in and out of the healthcare system way more efficiently, is crazy to me. And I'll leave on an anecdote of a product I'm a consumer of is Whoop. They have an announcement tomorrow at 10 a.m., which, if I'm a betting man, which I don't have the crystal ball, is a company that's been in fitness their entire career and life cycle of their company. I think they're going to go medical. I think their ability to say a doctor should know what your 2 years of sleep data with a click of a button should enter the EMR system, so that when you walk into your doctor's appointment, they know how well you've slept or what your heart rate variability looks like. If you wanted to give that to your doctor today, it's really difficult to do, and I think in 2 years maybe that looks really different. So that's a very specific medical healthcare thesis that we're starting to chase.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, thank you for your time, Justin. Where can people find more information about you and Lead?
Online, our website is lead.vc. If you're an entrepreneur, an investor, an operator, we are open ears to the craziest ideas possible, from partnership to investment to just relationship building. Our typical contacts are very easy to reach. LinkedIn is always a source of connection, and if I could give any point of confidence or referral, is find a warm introduction. Venture is a category. Yes, relationships are hard to come around, and not everyone in the world knows 5 billionaires to get funding from. But cold outreach is not the most optimal way of coming to us. So your ability to find someone who knows us or come to us in a very clever way is definitely much easier than just a blind outreach.
No, definitely. So hopefully, this is the second conversation with Lee. The first one was with Thomas.
Of course.
This one with you. Maybe in a year you can come back and give us an update.
Absolutely. Maybe Thomas and I come together. We're grateful to be here. I'll follow your journey amongst the podcasting space, bringing incredible thought leaders, and continuously contribute to what is Lake Nona. So absolutely.
Thank you for being here, Justin. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Appreciate it.